We can question the calls as long as we make the tackles. Always make sure that you run towards your goals. We will kick it around for you and throw everything at you because, as you know, that's always our point. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
I'm Howie Shapiro, and it's been an interesting week in Cardinal sports.
It has, and some sports are done.
That's correct.
That's how late we are in the fall season. Football team will wrap up the regular season this week and head into playoffs. We had section tournaments for both soccer teams last week. The Northwest Suburban Conference championships for cross country. You had the True Team tournament for swimming and diving. So things starting to matter a little bit more.
They really are, no question about it. And you know, we see teams that are reaching the pinnacle in terms of their season and also improving on their times and improving on the way that they go about their sport. And it's fun to see it this time of year.
Yeah, and I would say just about every team has really shown progress throughout the course of the season. Unfortunately, one that has kind of dipped down for the last couple of weeks is that football team.
Yeah, no question about it, and we'll obviously get into that. But a little head-scratching in some ways that they haven't been able to get their offense going as of late, but they'll figure it out.
Well, they have a short week before the regular season finale on Wednesday, and they need to bounce back after suffering their second straight loss. Cardinals went to Armstrong on Friday knowing that the Suburban Blue title was on the line. Cardinals were 2-0 in the division. If the Cardinals could knock them off, they'd be in the driver's seat. They also knew that Armstrong would be tough. They had put up 51 points in their previous game and would also be fighting hard to claim that crown. Armstrong moving the ball on its opening possession, but they cough it up in the red zone. Fumble on the exchange. Austin Alexander right there to reel it in for the Cardinals. Another defensive battle. Falcons passing on second and long. Nate Breams in the right spot gets the pick. Nice return. Unfortunately gets hurt on the tackle and would not return to the game. Cardinals field goal attempt early in the second. Weston Johnson flies in for the block. Bounces right into the hands of Mekhi Bessick, and he's off to the races. Returns it 85 yards for the score. Gets the Falcons on the board first. Coon Rapids able to respond quickly. After a penalty put them at 1st and 20, Tyler George, with time, looks over the middle, finds Kenny Nawachi. Nice run after the catch. He's going to get dragged down at the Armstrong 17-yard line. A 48-yard gain, biggest offensive play of the game for the Cardinals. Next snap, they hand it to Miles Taylor. Cuts back to his left, gets a nice block from Dominic Jones, dives for the pylon, and the score is tied at 7. Armstrong answers on its next possession. Quarterback Jake Breitbach had a big night running the ball. Finds a seam on this play and sprints 42 yards to the end zone. Puts his team back in front midway through the second quarter. After Cardinals 3 and out, Falcons looking to pass, but Breitbach picked off again. This time it's Dion McMahon, and he's got a host of help to escort him down the sidelines. McMahon returns at 67 yards for the score. Game is tied again at 14. Falcons got a field goal late in the first half to take the lead. They extend it midway through the third quarter. Breitbach firing to the back corner of the end zone. Great catch by Ty Bowman. The 14-yard score made it 24-14 Armstrong. Cardinals offense pretty much shut down in the second half, and Armstrong adds some more insurance early in the fourth. Breitbach flips it to Bowman on the sideline. He will get to the end zone for a second time. That made it 31-14, and that would be the final. Armstrong claims the Suburban Blue crown with a 3-0 record against division opponents. And Howie, just 7 points from the Cardinals offense in the last two contests.
It's been interesting, to say the least, in terms of how their running game has kind of disappeared. And I know that they're going to try and reestablish that on Wednesday night against Hopkins, a team that they probably can do that against. However, they're going to face some stiffer competition once the playoffs start. So I think it's just a matter of just getting those opportunities. They've got the offensive line to open the holes. We've seen it, and it's just a matter of doing what they like to do. Coach Edwards said, we're going to play our game, and I know that's running the football and pounding the rock and being physical up front. They will get back to that.
Well, look at the standings in the Suburban Blue now, 3-0 and done with division play. The Falcons will be the 2017 champions. Cardinals hoping to finish with a winning record. They have Hopkins on Wednesday, and Hopkins has struggled. Their only win against Bloomington Kennedy. And they've struggled to put points on the board, so it could be a big game for the Cardinals. They need to get a win to get that confidence back. Again, we talk about it so often. The team that over the last couple of seasons has not had any wins. They didn't know how to win, how to respond when they win. They went on a roll, 4 straight wins. That was great. But now those games mean more. They need to get that confidence back before they get into the playoffs.
No question about it. Obviously, they're in the playoffs, win or lose on this Wednesday night. But I think this is an important game for them to gain confidence, and I think that's what they're going to look to do. They're going to look to play well, try and run up the score, try and get their offense back on track before the section starts.
Yeah, it should be fun, and they do get to finish at home. And then interesting to see where they will end up when the seedings come out. But certainly would like to finish with a win, finish with a winning record,
Absolutely.
both in conference and overall.
No question.
And then look forward to what they have to do to be successful in the section tournament. One of the teams I neglected to mention in the Open is the tennis team. Their team season was done before last week's show. The individual section tournament started today at the Reed Sweat Tennis Center, and the Cardinals put forth their 4. They put Grace Hanula and Maya Machinsky were their 2 singles. Everhart and Westra and Nelson and Newton were their 2 doubles teams. Grace Hanula getting a 6-2, 6-2 win in the first round against Walls of Edison. Then lost to the top seed Zoe Adkins from Maple Grove, 0-6, 0-6. Machinsky got a tough draw right off the bat. The number 6 seed also from Maple Grove, Victoria Epstein, won 0-6, 0-6. Everhart and Westra got a win in the first round, 6-4, 6-4, but then lost again to a Maple Grove team, 2-6, 1-6. And Nelson and Newton came up short against Moa and Appleton of Armstrong in the first round, 1-6, 1-6. So all of the tennis teams are done. I believe just one senior of the 6 girls in the section tournament, that being Carly Westra. Yep. Other than her, I believe the rest are all underclassmen and all will be back. And that's a big key for the tennis team this season again. And we talk about it with a number of programs, but the tennis team definitely one of those teams that was very young this season. They had some growing pains, lost a lot of 4-3 contests, but learned how to win some of those close contests later in the year. And that should do great things for the program next season. Yeah,
you hope they take those lessons that they learned this year and carry over to next year and turn those 4-3 losses into 4-3 wins.
Yeah, hopefully. I think I'd have to look, but it's 4.
It was a lot of them.
4 or 5 at least that they lost by 4-3 score, several of them being in conference play.
Correct.
So it should be interesting to see what kind of progress they're able to make over the offseason. That's another thing we talk about over and over and over and over again here on the show is how important the offseason is. The high school seasons are so short. The real time for improvement is from the end of the season to the beginning of next year.
No question. Well, the volleyball team opened the section tournament at Totino Grace on Tuesday, and they're looking to continue their progress. The Cardinals have played really a lot better as of late, and they've proven they can compete with the top teams in the conference. On Tuesday, they welcomed Armstrong to the Fieldhouse for their final home game of the season, and they battled hard against the heavily favored Falcons. Falcons came in with a 15-4 record, 4th in the conference, but the Cardinals were about to roll over. Armstrong on the attack, but Ellie Hinsey gets the big stuff for the point for Coon Rapids. Well, they did make it interesting, but the Falcons have just too much firepower in the first set. Riley Fry pounding this one off Ellie Yang, helping Armstrong to a 25-15 win in the first. Cardinals keep it closer in the second. Falcons attacking in the middle. Great diving save by Alex Wright. Sophia Frake gets up, puts it to the floor. This one goes to extra points. Coon Rapids trying to even the match. Good return of serve for Armstrong, but the Cardinals have a good turn of their own. They get it to Emma Wright on the left side, coming up here. She puts it over the defense for the kill. Cardinals take the second set, 26-24. Armstrong able to retake control with a strong third set. Cardinals not able to attack on this return. Fry will win another battle for the ball at the net. Coon Rapids can't recover, and the Falcons go up 2-1 with a 25-15 win in the third set. Cardinals trying to force it to a 5th and final, but Armstrong just too much. Quick return for the Falcons. Kia Durant attacking the middle for the kill. Armstrong finishes it in 4 with a 25-14 win in the 4th. And again, another team we've seen improvement on as the season has continued. And we're going to get a chance to see them tomorrow night as well.
Huge, and that's a key for the volleyball team. This is a program, again, that has struggled over the last few seasons.
Right.
Coach Enns came in very, very late, just before tryouts started. Didn't really get to meet or see the girls in action until tryouts began. So it took a little while for them to understand him to understand what he had in them. But they are clearly playing better and more competitive, again, with some of the best teams in the conference. Last year, years before, they lose that first set. Don't know that they're able to battle back and take an Armstrong to a 26-24 win in the second set. But that has not only become something that they can do, but something that they do quite frequently. And their regular season finale kind of showed that, or at least their regular season dual meet finale. Cardinals, again, they lose a close one to Blaine in the first set, but they come back and beat the Bengals in the second, 25-23. They did lose in 4, but they kept all of them close. Coach Enns sent me an email. He asked for the scores from last year's match against Blaine, and I did look them up, and it was a 3-set sweep, and Blaine, I don't know that any 3 of those sets were as close as the 3 that the Cardinals lost here, and certainly the Cardinals didn't get a win. 6-15, 2-9, not a great record. But again, when you look at the progress they made throughout the season, how close they were at competing with some of these teams, you really see that while on paper it wasn't a successful season, the progress made throughout the year is definitely encouraging for the future. They do have a number of seniors on the team that will be leaving, but they also have a good, strong base of underclassmen that will return. And now next year, of course, they're going to be that much further ahead because they are familiar with Coach Enns, the new system, the new program, and that should help them get a faster start next year.
In talking with Coach Enns throughout the year, the thing that he mentioned to me is that these girls, even though he came in late, these girls are really buying into his program, and that's the key. You have to believe, obviously, in the coach and what they're telling you and what the program provides for them.
They finished up the season on Saturday with a trip to Bloomington Jefferson for the Jaguar Invitational, and the Cardinals, of the 4 matches, 3 of the 4 went to 3 sets. And Coach Enns said they had leads in the 3rd set in many of them, but just to get a win in 3 of those 4 was a bit of a win on its own. You saw the first 2 losses to Woodbury and then to St. Cloud Tech. St. Cloud Tech, the only one they'd lost to in straight sets. But then against Delano, they win the first set, lose a close second set, and lose 15-9 in the 3rd. Unfortunately, against St. Louis Park, they win the first set, but then did not fare very well in set number 2 or number 3. But still, once again, getting that one win out of those and continuing to battle through, and that's a long day of volleyball when you play
absolutely.
4 matches in one day. But they continue to battle, and they played well, and they're showing improvement. The end of his email said, "We're getting close."
Well, and it's a great time for that tournament to come to get that extra experience before the section starts.
Yeah, and they will be challenged. Obviously, one of the lower seeds going into the tournament, they have to go and face a tough Totino team that swept them in the regular season. But they're hoping that they can go in and show that improvement they've made since that match, and maybe push the Eagles more than the Eagles expect to be pushed by this Cardinal squad.
Just have to keep it close, and they have an opportunity.
Well, the swimming and diving team will compete in the Northwest Suburban Tournament this week, and when they face Park Center and Irondale on Tuesday. Last week, the Cardinals had their final dual meet of the season. They hit the road for Jackson Middle School on Thursday to face the Champlin Park Rebels. Once again, nearly everyone in the lineup was able to improve their times. Unfortunately, not enough for a win. Cardinals leaders doing what they can to bring home as many team points as possible. Second event of the night is the 200 free in a great race by Tamala King. Puts in a great time and wins easily in 2 minutes, 11.35 seconds. Up next, we have the 200 individual medley, and no surprise to see freshman Megan Schultz setting the pace in the pool. She is challenged all the way to the wall in this race, but able to get the win by a little more than a half second, tagging up in 2 minutes, 19.71 seconds. Tamala King, again, another strong race in the 500 free. And when she comes down the stretch, she is all alone, taking second place in 5 minutes, 48.80 seconds. Rebels, another team with a lot of strength and depth, got a big lead early, coasted to the 100-78 victory. But again, we talk about it over and over again. The improvements in time, very encouraging, and again, a very young team. I don't remember what he said the average grade level is, but it's somewhere between 8th and 9th grade. So you've got
very young, no question.
You've got a team here that the core of this team could be around for 3 and even 4 more years.
The interesting thing for me is next year to see how many additional swimmers come out for the team. So they had a great gain from last year to this year.
Yeah, they nearly
hoping for
doubled,
more for next year.
They nearly doubled in size from last year to this year. And you still look at some of these other programs that have twice as many girls as the Cardinals do. It will be interesting to see if they're able to get more girls to come out and help them be even more competitive on a team level, because again, in swimming, it's all about individual improvement, but at the same time, to be competitive as a team, you need the depth. You need those second, third, fourth girls to really come in and be able to grab some of those top 5 spots where they get the points. True Team Section Tournament took place over the weekend on Saturday. The Cardinals had some nice finishes. As a team, they will take 7th place in that event. Are we going to see the scores?
Nope. No. Take our word for it.
Well, I will just read off my list here. The Cardinals finished 7th place. Megan Schultz had a 2nd place finish in the 100 fly and a 3rd place finish in the 100 breast. Tamala King was 7th place in the 200 free and 9th place in the 500 free. Ella Hacker, remember, just an 8th grader, was 12th place in the 200 IM. And Jadlyn Michalowski finished 13th place in the 50 free. So the Northwest Suburban Conference Tournament, it's a head-to-head battle. Number 1 faces number 2, number 3 faces number 4. And the bottom 3 is Coon Rapids, Park Center, and Irondale. Last year, I think the Cardinals were able to finish top of those 3.
Right.
And that is what they are hoping for again this week. Then they have a couple of weeks off before the section championships, and it should be exciting to see how those leaders are able to compete at the section tournament. You've got a couple of girls that have very good chance to go to state. I would be a little bit surprised if they were shut out in state appearances, but I think if they can get 1 in, that's good. If they can get 2 or 3 in, that is fantastic. So best of luck to them.
No question.
Moving forward.
Yes. Speaking of moving forward, the cross-country teams have the week off to prepare for sections after a strong showing at last week's Northwest Suburban Championships. The boys team was hoping they could contend for the title. And why that didn't happen, they did see their leader do something never done before at Coon Rapids. And both teams will look to be even stronger at next week's section meet. Girls team is very young, and they have they had their ups and downs this season. They've been stronger down the stretch, showing the growth over the year and ready to prove themselves against the best in the conference. Sophomore Sarah Eichstad was the Cardinals' leader at the Northwest Suburban meet, and she earned all-conference honorable mention as she finishes 30th in a time of 21:12.98. 8th grader Julia Hedlund is the next Cardinal runner to the finish line. She crosses in a time of 22:25.51 for 65th place. Sophomore Abby Ellenbecker will finish 69th in the time of 22:46.57. Senior Hattie Bayo and freshman Issa Hoagland are in the group behind her in 73rd and 76th places, respectively. The boys team more experienced, and we're hoping they had speed and depth to come away with the team title, but the Northwest Suburban, very strong field. Senior Paul Breitbach certainly did his part. No surprise to see him running with the leaders all race long. He becomes the first Cardinal runner to get all-conference 4 straight years. Breitbach finishes in 6th place, just a fraction of a second over 17 minutes flat. Next three finishers were able to get honorable mention. Joe's cousin, junior Nick Jorgensen, finished 30th in the time of 17:41.57. Sophomores Noah Christensen and Reed Smith were hot on his heels, finishing in 37th places. And junior Aaron Johnson is the fifth Cardinals finisher, taking 60th in the time of 18:23.18. Cardinals, they're going to finish in the middle of the pack in 7th place.
Yeah, and that's a respectable finish. I think that's a little disappointing if you were to ask the boys on the team, because they really felt that this was a year that they were going to make some noise and be at least in that top three.
They did.
Be in the conversation for a conference tournament. But the big key is their next run. The 5 AA championships are next Thursday, and the Cardinals really feel that if they can have the race they want, they can, again, be in the conversation for that top spot. And it's the top 2 spots that go to the state championships. And they are certainly hoping that they can do that and be involved on Saturday, November 4th.
No question.
I think a really good chance for Paul Breitbach to return to the state championship. Congratulations again to him. 4 years, all conference. It surprised me a little bit to hear that's the first time that's happened in school history, but did not surprise me at all to hear that he accomplished such a feat.
Not at all.
It's he's been running for the team for more than those 4 years. He started as a middle schooler, and we've been talking about him for a long time. It'll be a little bit surprising, or a little bit different, I should say, next year to not have that name. And I was obviously curious. I think we talked about it a little bit at the football game. I wonder if he is related to Armstrong quarterback Jake Breitbach.
Let us know.
It's not one.
It's a fun fact.
It's
a fun fact.
It's not one of those names like Jones or Smith or Johnson you see a lot of. But a great career for Paul, and certainly wish he and all of the Cardinals, both boys and girls, best of luck at this week's section championships. Boys soccer team didn't finish as strong as they would have liked with just 1 win in their last 4 games, but they still earned a 4 seed going into the section tournament. That meant they got to start the playoffs at home. They drew St. Francis, who had a more impressive record, but got the lower seed due to the level of competition. So the Cardinals knew the Saints would come in fast, looking to prove they deserved that higher seed. Coon Rapids wastes no time putting pressure on the visitors. Just the 4th minute of play, Sydney Achi able to feed it through traffic to Gael Tombwe. Gael puts the Cardinals on the board very early. Great start from their leader. Has everything looking good. St. Francis won 13 games this season. They've got guys who can score 2 late in the half. Glenn Bakoya gets behind the defense. Great cross to Hunter Doherty out front. He just has to tap it home. Ties the game at 1 going to the half. Saints with a free kick early in the second. Andrew Peterson plays it to the back corner. Great play by Soren Halverson, able to cut back, beat a couple of defenders, then fire it past LePage, give St. Francis the 2-1 lead. Didn't last long, though. A few minutes later, great play by Almir Begic. We've seen this all season long. Great speed, great feet, works to open space, fires to the upper corner with the left foot. Game tied at 2 apiece. Saints get that one right back. A penalty kick a little less than midway through the second. Bakoya leaves no doubt, shooting low to the right. Put St. Francis back in front 3-2. Just 5 minutes later, it's the Cardinals with a free kick. Alex Lynch goes direct and puts it right in the upper corner. Tied once more, put the momentum back behind the home team, and they run with it. Just 2 minutes later, Katoya Kalisti gets it to Sydney Achi. He sends Gael in on the breakaway. No chance for the keeper on that way. Tombwe gets his second of the game and turns out to be the winner. Cardinals hold on for the final 16 minutes.
Fun match.
And score the 4-3 win.
Yes,
yeah,
fun
you should
match.
have been there. Should have been there.
I couldn't, unfortunately.
I did enjoy having Mr. DJoy in the
Finally,
booth with
somebody
me.
professional with you.
Right, somebody for the first time.
They actually knew what they were talking about.
For the first time since we lost Jerry Grant, he retired from the broadcast booth. It's the first time since then we've had someone with actual soccer knowledge in the booth, and he did add to the broadcast, and it was fun, back and forth, and even more fun to see the Cardinals get to celebrate a win in the quarterfinals. That meant a trip to Duluth East to face the top-seeded Greyhounds, and things did not go so well against Duluth East. On Thursday night, they lose 6-blank And Coach Paco's email was, boy, are they fast on turf. So no surprises in the section bracket. The top 2 seeds. No, in this one, the number 7 seed, Forest Lake.
Crazy.
Has the glass slipper on all the way. Knocked off number 2 seeded Blaine 4-3, and number 3 seeded Anoka 2-1. So Forest Lake will face Duluth East for the championship on Tuesday. This is the one
a little nervous.
There was a
They
lot
gotta be a
of
little
surprises.
nervous.
And most Cardinal fans not feeling too bad that who they knocked off.
Exactly.
The 2 biggest rivals in the conference in Blaine and Anoka.
Like that. Well, the girls' soccer team started the section tournament against the same team they faced in the regular season finale. The Cardinals lost to Spring Lake Park 2-1 in that game, and less than a week later they would travel to face the Panthers with their season on the line. We didn't have a camera there, but unfortunately some fans got a video from us from the exciting finish. For us, the teams battled to a 1-1 tie through overtime, and it went to the shootout. Mackenzie Langenfeld came up with a big save on the Spring Lake Park shot. That's all it took. All 5 Cardinal shooters were able to find the back of the net in the shootout. Genevieve Swanson scoring on her chance clinched the win for the Cardinals, and they get to celebrate with a trip to the semifinal round.
A well-deserved
Yes,
celebration.
absolutely.
And thank you to Jeff Langenfeld for supplying the video.
Well, the challenge much stronger on Thursday as the Cardinals travel to face third-ranked and top-seeded Maple Grove. Coon Rapids played them strong, losing 3-1 just over a week before, and they were hoping they could really have another good showing against the mighty Crimson. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be the case. The Crimson controlled the contest from the start. Just 5 minutes in, Jasmine Gates lost it to the front of the net. Mia Omar is right there, one touch to the back of the net, Maple Grove on the board first. They add to their lead, and less than a minute later, off the corner kick, Manon McMahon settles. Abby Schulte is there to poke it past Langenfeld, and just like that, the Crimson are on top by 2. They weren't about to be let up. Meredith Hankinson on the move through the Cardinals' defense. Langenfeld with a nice save on the shot, but McMahon is right there to put the rebound home. It's a 3-goal lead. Pressure was relentless and overwhelming. McMahon again, this time crossing to the front, and Hankinson puts a header to the back of the net. 4-0 Maple Grove, not even midway through the first. They were up 5-0 at the break and made it 6-0 in the first minute of the second. Cardinals, meanwhile, they had very few chances at the offensive end. Great opportunity off the throw-in, but the shot by Courtney Ackerman is over the net. They can avoid the shutout, and their season unfortunately ends with a 6-0 loss, just like the boys' season ended as well.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very
they're
good
really good
Maple Grove team, and this is the one. There's no surprises. Neither of the top 2 seeds has allowed a goal through the first 2 rounds. Maple Grove putting up 6 in each of the first 2 games, so they go in 12-0 against opponent Centennial, 4-0 over Osseo, and 3-0 over Champlain Park. So both teams rolling. It could be a 1-goal game. The 2 teams.
It'll be a good one, that's for sure.
I think it's much more likely to be a high-scoring affair. 2 high-powered offenses that are going to put pressure on the opponent all game long. But that is not of our concern. Both section championships will be played on Tuesday night. But we are more concerned with what's happening for Coon Rapids. We will have volleyball section play at Totino for you on Tuesday. And because it's a tournament, can't play it live, so it'll premiere at midnight. Football game will be live at 7 o'clock as the Cardinals host the Hopkins Royals in the regular season finale. And then hopefully we'll get to see the volleyball team pull off a bit of an upset over the Eagles and continue their role in the section tournament. But that's going to do it for this edition of CTN Sports. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howard Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say goodnight.